So another process involved in web development is front-end web development, or not necessarily process. This shouldn't be process. You can call this segments of web development is front-end web development. So this is just a part of web development. So now, what is web development? I would like us to see the definition. It says a front-end developer builds the front-end portion of websites and web applications. All right, so this one is telling you what a front-end web developer does first. Then from this other part here, all right, from this other part here, it begins to tell us what a what front end web development is actually. So the parts user sees and interacts with. That's simple. Nothing more, nothing less. Front end web development is actually you know front end web development is developing the parts of the website that the user can see and interact with. All right. So I'm going to explain this in a very beautiful way that just helps us explain both the front end and back end at the same time. Yes, you guessed right. So since there's a front end part of web development and there's also a back end part of web development. So for example, I showed you a UI design. All right. Let me take you back there. So for just the fun of stretching your eyes and show you different beautiful things on my screen. So the part of converting the visual parts of a website, this part of the website is the part people can see, people can interact with, people can click on and expect magical things to happen. All right. So, the part that the user can interact with, click on and see, that's the front end part of the website. So in case you are wondering, oh my God, is there a part that the users cannot see in the website? Obviously, and I would explain using Facebook. So now a UI designer already designed this, and a front-end developer just had to, develop this particular part that you can see now in your screen. All right, so design this, but then there is also the back end that works on Facebook. So let's say, for example, let me give you this explanation. Let's say, for example, somebody is trying to log in and your name is, let's say I'm logging into my own accounts. I'm using Caleb Okwise at, something xyz.com. Or at gmail.com. Then I type in my password and I press login. How does Facebook know that my password is correct? How does Facebook know that I've created an account before? This is because they have a database. A database just means a place where they store data. And if the word data is confusing you, can just put it as a place where they store user information. All right. Where they have several emails and several passwords attached to those emails. I'm just giving a layman definition. So once somebody comes and type in his mail and type in the password and press login, so that's the front end part that you can see, but something starts happening in the back end. Okay, it's the back end that takes that email that you typed into the database and check if there's an email like that is existing in the database. If there's no email like that, it comes back and tells you, all right, and delivers a message on the front end and says, this email doesn't exist. But how did you know? A work has already been done in the back end in communicating with the database. So that part of the website that that you cannot see. Of course, you did not see Facebook carrying your data to the database and then checking and scanning if the username is there, and if it is there, checking if the password match with that particular username before it gives you access. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scene, but you don't see all those things happening. Who does that part? So that part, there are people, they are specialized in doing the parts of websites that you cannot see. So I showed you the part of the websites that you can see, all right, which is designing, coding these UI designs, transforming these designs into real life websites by coding them, writing the codes. But there are some parts of the websites that involves things that people cannot see. All right, so for example, the site communicating with the database and all those stuff, the server, that is called the back-end web development. So I think I've just been able to successfully use one stone to kill two birds here. all right, to successfully explain front-end web development and back-end web development at the same time. So let me just read through this definition one more time. So a front-end developer builds the front-end portion of websites and web application, front-end, all right, which is the part users see and interact with. All right, so a front-end developer creates websites and application using web languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that allow users to access and interact with the site or app. Now, let me set it here. We'll come back to explaining this bottom part, but let me just do a quick cover. All right, um, the languages, all right, the programming languages that front-end developers use in fulfilling their work is not the same thing with the languages that back-end developers use in fulfilling their, like in carrying out their own task. All right. So front-end developers, there are languages that they use that allow them create those user interfaces to websites, and there are languages that back-end developers use in making sure, acting as the middleman between what the user can see and what the user cannot see, and bringing that big feedback back to the front end. So people specialize, there are people that choose to specialize just as back-end web developers and learn only the languages required to become a back-end web developer. While there are people that just specialize in becoming front-end developers and learn only the languages required to be front-end developers. All right. While there are people that do both, all right, specialize both in front-end web development and back-end web development. Those kind of people are called full stack developers. Full stack developers. So it talks about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are the basic tools or web languages that front-end web developers use for their front-end web development. But then there are others, all right. So the basic, the basic ones is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which we'll be covering in this program, all right. But then the more advanced ones like there are more advanced ones like React, Vue. I'm not talking about these advanced ones does not mean you use them in place of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all right. So when I say basic, I actually mean basic. Basic means in this case, it's not just basic, but fundamental, all right, essential. That's why this course is called Essential Web Development Program. So essential means that you cannot do without them when it comes to front-end web development. If you're a front-end web developer, you must know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And with just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can actually develop websites. You can develop a full website, complete websites, with only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And that's why they are the fundamentals. But then you can go advanced and begin to add other languages to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Note, I did not say to replace them. You cannot replace them. They are the fundamentals in the world of web development. All right. But you'll be required as you advance in your career to learn some more, and some more of these languages stated there. Some of these extra languages stated there, some are complementary, some are to replace each other. For example, React and Vue. You cannot use React and Vue on the same website. Either you're using React or you're using Vue, and that is plus HTML, CSS, JavaScript. What I mean is, after you have used HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then you can choose to use either React or Vue with it. So you can choose to learn both. If you are choosing to advance your career in front-end web development, sometimes some job descriptions would require you learning one or more frameworks, which is what they are called. Some of these advanced languages of front-end web development. All right, Angular, you have jQuery, you have TypeScript, you have Sass, you have Tailwind. I don't want to, you can choose to, by yourself, maybe read up on what each of them means. But for now, we'll just stick with what we're covering in this program, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. This is just to let you know that after or outside HTML, CSS, JavaScript, there are other codes like programming languages for front end that do exist. All right. In the future, if you go ahead and take the advanced program after this one, we'll delve into these advanced front-end web development languages and what they are used for, the tools. But for now, we'll stick with HTML, CSS, JavaScript throughout this program. All right, I'm excited to have you here.